Something is about to be said to you. And once it is spoken, the confusion you have been carrying will finally begin to dissolve. If you are a Pisces and you have been living in a fog of uncertainty, wondering where things stand, wondering whether to hold on or let go, wondering if the silence means something painful or something beautiful, then this message was placed in your path for a reason. The conversation that ends the uncertainty is not some distant event you have to chase. It is closer than you think. And the energy surrounding your sign right now is building toward a moment of truth that will bring you the clarity you have been quietly begging for. But here is what matters most. This conversation is not just about what someone else says to you. It is also about what you finally say to yourself. It is about the words you have been swallowing, the questions you have been afraid to ask, and the truths you have been tiptoeing around because you did not want to disturb the peace. Well, Pisces, the real peace does not come from avoiding hard conversations. It comes from having them. And by the time you finish hearing everything in this message, you will understand exactly why this moment has been building, and exactly what you need to do when it arrives. So stay with me. Every single section of this reading carries weight, and the later ones contain details that could genuinely shift the direction of your next few weeks. Let us begin. Tip 1. The uncertainty you have been feeling is not weakness. It is awareness trying to break through. There is something important you need to understand before we go any further, and it is this. The confusion you have been sitting in does not mean you are lost, does not mean you are broken, and it certainly does not mean you are failing at life. What it means is that you are standing at the edge of a new understanding, and your spirit knows that what comes next is going to change things. That is why everything feels so heavy right now. That is why you keep going back and forth in your mind, replaying conversations, analyzing silences, reading into things that may or may not mean what you think they mean. Your intuition has been working overtime, and the reason it has been so loud, so persistent, so relentless, is because it is trying to tell you something your conscious mind has not been ready to accept. You are someone who feels things deeply. You always have been. When you walk into a room, you do not just see what is happening on the surface. You feel the undercurrent. You pick up on the tension that nobody else seems to notice. You sense when someone is holding something back, even when their words say everything is fine. And that gift, that beautiful and sometimes exhausting gift, has been both your greatest strength and your heaviest burden. Because when you feel everything, it becomes almost impossible to separate your emotions from the truth. You start to wonder whether your gut is guiding you, or whether your fear is distorting reality. And that is exactly where you have been stuck. But here is the shift that is happening right now. The fog is beginning to lift. Not all at once and not in a dramatic lightning bolt kind of way, but slowly, gently, in a way that feels like waking up from a dream you did not realize you were in. You are starting to see things more clearly. You are starting to notice patterns that you were too close to see before. And the uncertainty that has been eating at you is not getting louder. It is getting quieter, because the answer is forming. It is taking shape just beneath the surface, and it is almost ready to emerge. What I want you to hold on to right now is this truth. You were never confused because you lacked intelligence. You were confused because you cared so deeply that you did not want to see something that might hurt. But caring deeply does not mean you have to stay blind. You can love someone and still see them clearly. You can want something to work and still acknowledge when it is not working. You can hope for the best while also being honest about what is actually happening. That is not betrayal. That is maturity. And that is exactly where your energy is headed right now. The uncertainty has served its purpose. It slowed you down long enough to gather the information you needed. It kept you from making a reckless decision in a moment of emotional intensity. And now that the dust is beginning to settle, you are in a much better position to see the full picture. Trust that. Trust what is emerging, because what comes next is a conversation, either with someone else or with yourself, that will bring everything into focus. And you are more ready for it than you think. But the timing of this conversation depends on something specific, and that is what we need to talk about next. Tip 2. The right words will not come from rehearsal. They will come from finally dropping the mask. You have been preparing for a conversation in your head for longer than you would probably like to admit. You have gone over the words 1,000 times. You have imagined what you would say, how they would respond, what their face would look like, how the whole thing would unfold. And every time you play it out in your mind, it goes a little differently. Sometimes it ends with relief. Sometimes it ends with tears. Sometimes it ends with silence. And because you cannot predict which version is real, you keep postponing it. You keep telling yourself you will bring it up when the time is right. But deep down, you know something uncomfortable. The time has been right for a while now. You have just been afraid of what happens after the words are spoken. And that fear is understandable. You are someone who values harmony. You do not enjoy conflict. You do not like seeing someone you care about in pain, even if that pain comes from hearing the truth. So you soften your words. You dilute your feelings. You say things like "it is fine" and "I understand," when what you really mean is, "This is not fine, and I need more from you." But here is what the energy is showing me right now. The mask you have been wearing, the one that says everything is okay when it is not, the one that smiles when your heart is aching, the one that agrees when your soul is screaming no, that mask is cracking. And it is cracking because it was never meant to be permanent. It was a survival tool. It helped you get through a season where you did not feel safe enough to be honest. But that season is ending. And the conversation that will change everything is not going to come from a rehearsed script. It is going to come from the raw, unfiltered truth that lives underneath all those carefully constructed responses you have been giving. When you finally drop the mask, something extraordinary happens. The other person, whether it is a partner, a family member, a friend, or even just yourself, they feel the difference. They feel the authenticity. They feel the weight of what you are saying because it is no longer wrapped in layers of protection. It is just you, bare, honest, real. And that kind of honesty does not push people away, Pisces. It draws the right ones closer. The ones who can handle your truth are the ones who deserve your presence. And the ones who cannot, well, that is information you need to have. Because you have spent too long editing yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for the full version of you. The conversation that ends the uncertainty begins the moment you decide that being understood matters more than being comfortable. And you are so close to that decision right now. You can feel it pressing against the inside of your chest, can you not? That pressure is not anxiety. It is readiness. And the next thing I need to share with you will explain exactly why this particular moment in time is so critical for you. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Tip 3. Someone has been holding back just as much as you have, and that silence is about to break. You might think you are the only one in this situation who has been biting their tongue. You might believe that the other person is completely fine, completely unbothered, completely unaffected by the distance or the tension or the unspoken things that hang in the air between you. But I need to tell you something that might surprise you. They are not fine either. Whoever this person is, the one connected to your uncertainty, they have been carrying their own version of the same weight. They have been lying awake at night too. They have been replaying conversations in their head too. They have been wondering whether to speak or stay silent, just like you. And the reason neither of you has broken through yet is because you are both terrified of the same thing. You are both afraid that honesty will destroy what you have. But what you have right now, is it really what you want to protect? Think about that for a moment. The thing you are clinging to, the relationship or dynamic or situation that you are afraid to disrupt, is it actually giving you peace? Or is it just giving you familiarity? Because those are two very different things. Familiarity feels like comfort, but it can also feel like a cage. You get so used to a certain pattern that you start to believe it is the only option. You adapt. You adjust. You make yourself smaller and smaller until you fit perfectly into a space that was never meant for you. And the whole time you tell yourself this is fine because at least it is not unknown. But the unknown is where your freedom lives. And the conversation that is coming, the one the universe has been building toward, is going to crack open that familiar space and show you what exists beyond it. Now, here is the beautiful part. The other person involved in this situation is approaching their own breaking point as well. The silence between you is not sustainable. It has been stretching and stretching and stretching, and at some point very soon it is going to snap. And when it does, the words that come pouring out are going to be far more honest than anything either of you has said in a long time. This does not mean it will be easy. Honest conversations rarely are, but it does mean it will be real. And real is what you have been starving for. You are so tired of surface-level interactions. You are so tired of pretending that everything is fine when there is a war happening inside your chest. You are so tired of reading between lines and interpreting silences and guessing at meanings that should just be spoken plainly. And that exhaustion is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you have outgrown this pattern. You are ready for depth. You are ready for directness. You are ready for the kind of communication where both people show up fully, without armor, without games, without hidden agendas. And that is exactly what is on the other side of this silence. The break is coming, and when it arrives, you will finally have the clarity you have been waiting for. But before that moment arrives, there is something you need to release first. And that is what the next section reveals. Tip 4. You have been carrying a fear that does not belong to you, and it is time to put it down. There is a fear living inside you right now that you have been treating as your own, but when you trace it back to its origin, you will realize it was never yours to begin with. It was inherited. It was absorbed. It was planted in you by an experience, a person, or a season of your life that taught you something painful about what happens when you are honest. Maybe you learned early on that speaking your truth leads to punishment. Maybe you saw someone you loved get hurt for being vulnerable, and you quietly decided that vulnerability was dangerous. Maybe you tried to have an honest conversation once years ago, and it went so badly that you swore you would never put yourself in that position again. Whatever the origin, the fear is not serving you anymore. It is not protecting you. It is imprisoning you. And the longer you carry it, the heavier it becomes, because it is not just the weight of the fear itself. It is the weight of every conversation you did not have, every feeling you did not express, every truth you buried because you were afraid of what would happen if you let it breathe. Think about how much energy that takes. Think about how exhausting it is to constantly monitor yourself, to always be calculating what is safe to say and what needs to be hidden, to live in a permanent state of emotional diplomacy where your needs always come last. That is not peace, Pisces. That is survival. And you deserve more than survival. You deserve to actually live. You deserve relationships where you do not have to edit yourself. You deserve connections where your feelings are treated as valid, even when they are inconvenient. You deserve a life where honesty is not a risk but a foundation. And getting there starts with one simple but terrifying act. You have to put the fear down, not push it away, not fight it, not pretend it does not exist. Just gently, consciously set it down. Acknowledge that it served you once. Thank it for trying to keep you safe. And then tell it that you do not need its protection anymore. Because you are stronger now than you were when that fear first took root. You have survived things that the younger version of you could not have imagined. You have navigated loss, betrayal, disappointment, and heartbreak, and you are still here. Still standing. Still hoping. Still caring. That is not weakness. That is extraordinary resilience. And that resilience is exactly what will carry you through the conversation that is coming. You are not the same person who got hurt before. You are not walking into this moment with the same fragility. You are walking in with wisdom, with experience, with a deep understanding of who you are and what you need. And that changes everything. The fear may still whisper. It may still try to convince you that silence is safer. But you know better now. And what I am about to share with you next will help you understand exactly what the universe has been preparing you for, and why the timing is so precise. Tip 5. The universe has been delaying this moment on purpose, because you were not ready before, but you are now. You might have wondered why this clarity did not come sooner. You might have questioned why you had to sit in confusion for so long, why the answers took their time, why the conversations kept getting postponed or interrupted or sidetracked. And I understand that frustration. When you are in pain, every day feels like a year. Every unanswered question feels like a wound that will not close. Every moment of uncertainty feels like standing on the edge of a cliff with your eyes closed, not knowing whether the next step leads to solid ground or to empty air. But here is what I need you to understand. The delay was not punishment. It was preparation. There is a reason things did not unfold when you wanted them to, and that reason is simple. You were not ready. Not because you were not smart enough or strong enough or worthy enough, but because the version of you that existed 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, that version would have handled this conversation differently. That version would have led with fear instead of clarity. That version would have said what they thought the other person wanted to hear instead of what actually needed to be said. That version would have sacrificed their own truth to preserve someone else's comfort. And the universe knew that. It knew that if the conversation happened too soon, it would not have produced the result you actually needed. It would have given you a temporary fix instead of a permanent shift. It would have rearranged the furniture instead of rebuilding the foundation. So it waited. It let you sit in the discomfort long enough to burn away the parts of you that were still willing to settle. It let the pressure build until you reached the point where silence became more painful than honesty. And now here you are, at exactly the right moment, with exactly the right level of readiness, with a heart that is finally tired enough of pretending to be willing to show up fully. That is not a coincidence. That is divine timing. And I know those words can sometimes feel hollow, especially when you have been waiting and hurting and hoping for so long. But look at where you are right now. Look at what you know now that you did not know before. Look at how much you have grown, how much you have shed, how much you have healed, even while you thought you were just surviving. The delay was the healing. The waiting was the preparation. And the conversation that is about to happen will be different from every conversation that came before it because you are different now. You are not going into this moment as a people pleaser. You are going into it as someone who knows their worth. You are not going into it begging for crumbs of attention. You are going into it standing firmly in the knowledge that you deserve the full meal. That shift in energy changes everything. And the person on the other side of this conversation is going to feel it. They are going to sense that something has shifted in you, and it is going to change the way they respond. But there is a specific way you need to approach this moment, and that is what we need to explore next. Tip 6. Clarity does not come from getting the answer you want. It comes from accepting the answer you get. This is the part of the message where I need to be very honest with you, even if it is not what you want to hear. Because there is a difference between wanting clarity and being willing to receive it. And right now, some of you are not actually looking for the truth. You are looking for confirmation. You want someone to tell you that everything is going to work out exactly the way you have been imagining. You want to hear that the person you love is going to suddenly wake up and realize your value. You want to be reassured that the uncertainty ends with a fairy tale. And I am not going to tell you that. Not because it is not possible, but because that is not what genuine clarity looks like. Genuine clarity is neutral. It does not take sides. It does not tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what is true. And the truth might be beautiful. It might be everything you have been hoping for, but it also might be hard. It might show you something that breaks a piece of your heart. It might reveal that the person you have been waiting for is not waiting for you. It might make clear that the situation you have been investing in does not have the return you expected. And if that is the case, you need to be ready to accept it. Because here is what happens when you only accept clarity that confirms your desires. You stay stuck. You hear the truth, you reject it, and then you go right back into the fog. You replay the good memories and ignore the red flags. You convince yourself that things will change if you just love harder, wait longer, try more. And the cycle continues. But when you accept the truth as it comes, something powerful happens. The uncertainty dies. Not because you got the answer you wanted, but because you stopped needing a specific answer in order to be okay. You become okay regardless. You become whole regardless. You become at peace regardless. And from that place of peace, you can make decisions that are rooted in self-respect rather than desperation. I am telling you this now because the conversation that is approaching will give you information. It will give you a piece of the puzzle that you have been missing. But how you respond to that information will determine whether this becomes a turning point or just another loop in the cycle. If you respond with openness, with courage, with a willingness to accept whatever comes, then this moment will set you free. But if you respond with denial, with bargaining, with an attempt to control the outcome, then you will walk right back into the fog you just escaped. The choice is yours, and I trust you to make the right one, because the version of you that has made it this far in this reading is not the version that runs from truth anymore. You are ready, and what the next section reveals will help you understand what to do with that readiness once the conversation actually begins. Tip 7. The power of this moment is not in what they say. It is in how you respond. You have been giving so much of your power away. I do not say that to shame you. I say it because it is true, and because recognizing it is the first step to taking it back. For too long, your emotional state has been determined by someone else's words, someone else's behavior, someone else's willingness to show up. When they are warm, you feel alive. When they are distant, you feel worthless. When they respond quickly, you feel hopeful. When they go quiet, you spiral. That is not connection. That is dependency. And it has been draining you in ways you have not even fully acknowledged yet. But the conversation that is coming presents you with a rare and beautiful opportunity. The opportunity to respond differently than you have ever responded before. Not from fear. Not from desperation. Not from the frantic need to hold on to something that keeps slipping through your fingers. But from stillness. From center. From the grounded, unshakable knowing that your worth does not depend on anyone else's opinion of you. When this conversation happens, and it will happen soon, there will be a moment in it that tests you. A moment where the old version of you would have crumbled. A moment where you would have said something you did not mean just to keep the peace. A moment where you would have swallowed your truth and smiled through the pain. But this time you do not have to do that. This time you get to choose a different response. You get to pause. You get to breathe. You get to feel whatever comes up without reacting to it immediately. You get to say, I hear you, and I need a moment to process that. You get to protect your energy without being aggressive. You get to be honest without being hurtful. You get to be firm without being cold. That is the balance you have been searching for, and it has been inside you all along. You just never felt safe enough to access it before. But you are safe now, not because the external circumstances have changed, but because something internal has shifted. You no longer need this conversation to go a certain way in order to be okay. You have already started building a foundation within yourself that does not depend on anyone else's participation. And that is the most powerful place you could possibly be standing when this moment arrives. The person in front of you will feel that shift. They will sense that you are not approaching this with the same energy you used to bring. And it will change the dynamic entirely. Because when someone realizes they can no longer control you with their silence or their inconsistency, one of two things happens. Either they rise to meet the new version of you, or they reveal that they were only comfortable with the version of you that did not ask for much. Either way you win. Either way you get your answer. Either way the uncertainty ends. And what comes after this moment is something truly beautiful, which is what I need to tell you about next. Tip 8. After the conversation, there will be a period of quiet. And that quiet is where your transformation lives. Most people think the breakthrough is the dramatic moment. They think it is the big conversation, the tears, the confession, the moment of raw honesty where everything is finally laid bare. And yes, that moment matters. But it is not where the real transformation happens. The real transformation happens in the silence that follows. After the words have been spoken. After the emotions have been felt. After the dust has settled and you are sitting alone with everything that was said. That quiet space is sacred, Pisces. And most people rush through it because it feels uncomfortable. They want to immediately analyze. They want to call someone and talk about what happened. They want to make a decision right away. They want to skip ahead to the resolution without actually sitting with the revelation. But you are not going to do that this time. This time you are going to let the silence do its work. Because in that silence, something incredible happens. Your subconscious begins to integrate what your conscious mind just experienced. The pieces start fitting together in ways that you could not force. The clarity that seemed just out of reach during the conversation itself starts to crystallize, slowly, gently, like frost forming on a window. And the answers you have been chasing begin to arrive, not through more thinking, but through less. You will know what to do. Not because someone told you, not because you read it in a book or heard it in a reading, but because you felt it, deep in your bones. In that place inside you that has always known the truth but was waiting for the right moment to speak. That moment is coming, and when it arrives you need to trust it. You need to trust the knowing that rises up from within, even if it contradicts what your fear has been telling you, even if it means making a decision that feels scary, even if it means walking away from something you thought you could not live without. Because here is the truth. You can live without anything that is not aligned with your highest good. You might not believe that right now, but you will. The quiet after the conversation will show you just how strong you really are. It will strip away the stories you have been telling yourself about needing someone else to complete you, about being too sensitive for this world, about being destined to be misunderstood. Those stories were never true. They were just loud. And in the silence, their volume drops. And your own voice, your real voice, the one that has been buried under years of self-doubt and accommodation, that voice finally gets to be heard. Listen to it. It has been waiting for this moment. And what it is about to tell you about the next chapter of your life is something that will shift everything. Which brings us to what the universe wants you to know next. Some people watch, others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting, it's about moving. Tip 9. You are not losing something, you are being redirected towards something that actually fits. There is a fear that has been sitting in the back of your mind, and I want to name it now so it can lose its grip on you. You are afraid that this conversation, this moment of truth, is going to take something away from you. You are afraid of loss. You are afraid that clarity means ending. You are afraid that seeing things as they truly are will mean letting go of something you love. And I understand that fear. I truly do. Because for a heart like yours, a heart that attaches deeply, that invests fully, that does not know how to love halfway, the idea of loss is not just painful, it is terrifying. But I need you to hear this next sentence with every fiber of your being. You cannot lose what is truly meant for you. Read that again. Let it sink in. Let it settle into the places inside you that are bracing for impact. You cannot lose what is truly meant for you. If something leaves your life, it is not because you failed. It is not because you were not enough. It is not because you did something wrong. It is because it was not meant to stay forever. And that does not diminish what it was. It does not erase the beauty of what you shared. It does not make the love any less real. It just means that its purpose has been fulfilled. And now it is time for something new to take its place. And here is the part that most people miss. What comes next is always better suited to who you are becoming. Not who you were, who you are becoming. Because you are not the same person who entered this situation. You have grown. You have evolved. You have shed layers and layers of old patterns, old beliefs, old ways of showing up that no longer serve you. And the things that fit the old version of you might not fit the new version. That is not a tragedy. That is an upgrade. Think about a time in your past when you lost something you thought you could not live without. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a job. Maybe it was a living situation. At the time, it felt like the world was ending. But looking back now, you can see that the loss created space for something that matched you far more beautifully than what you were clinging to. That same pattern is unfolding again right now. The uncertainty you have been feeling is not the prelude to destruction. It is the prelude to alignment. The conversation that is coming will help you see where you truly stand. And wherever that is, it is exactly where you need to be. Because the universe does not make mistakes with your life. It does not waste your pain. Every single thing you have been through has been leading you to this moment, to this version of yourself, to this level of readiness. And what is waiting for you on the other side of this conversation is not an ending. It is a beginning that fits, a beginning that does not require you to shrink, a beginning where you finally get to show up as the full, beautiful, complex, deeply feeling human being that you are. But before you step into that beginning, there is one more piece of the puzzle you need. And it is waiting in the next section. Tip 10. The version of you that walks out of this moment is the version you have been waiting to become. Everything in your life has been building to this. Every heartbreak that shaped your boundaries. Every disappointment that sharpened your discernment. Every sleepless night that deepened your self-awareness. Every tear that softened the hardened places inside you. Every moment of doubt that forced you to dig deeper for your own truth. It was all preparation. Every single piece of it. And the version of you that exists right now, in this very moment, reading these words, feeling these feelings, carrying this beautiful mixture of hope and fear and determination. This version of you is the one who is finally ready to step out of the shadows. For so long, you have been living a muted version of your life. You have been dimming your light to make others comfortable. You have been speaking softly when you wanted to roar. You have been accepting crumbs when you deserved feasts. You have been saying yes when your whole body was screaming no. And you did it because you loved. You did it because you cared. You did it because your heart is so vast, so generous, so endlessly giving that you would rather hurt yourself than hurt someone else. But that chapter is closing now. Not with anger, not with bitterness, not with resentment toward the people who took more than they gave. It is closing with a quiet, powerful, unshakable understanding that you matter too. Your feelings matter. Your needs matter. Your dreams matter. Your peace matters. And any person, situation, or dynamic that requires you to forget that in order to maintain it is not worth maintaining. The conversation that is coming will be a doorway. On one side is the version of you that has been living in uncertainty. On the other side is the version of you that walks in clarity. And when you step through that doorway, you are not going to look back. Not because you are running away from something, but because you are finally walking toward yourself. Toward the life you have been dreaming about in the quiet hours of the night. Toward the love that does not require you to beg. Toward the peace that does not come with conditions. Toward the freedom of being fully, unapologetically, completely yourself. That is what this moment is about. That is why the universe has been building toward it with such precision. That is why you could not rush it, could not force it, could not skip ahead to the ending. Because the journey itself was transforming you into the person who is ready to receive what comes next. And you are that person now. Right now. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Not when you lose 10 pounds or get the promotion or finally hear the words you have been waiting to hear from someone else. Right now. As you are. With all your imperfections. With all your scars. With all your tender, beautiful, wide-open heart. You are ready. And the universe knows it. And the people around you are about to know it too. Because the energy you carry after this conversation will be different. It will be clear. It will be grounded. It will be magnetic. And it will attract exactly what you deserve. You have spent so long pouring into others that you forgot to pour into yourself. But that is changing now. Starting today. Starting with this awareness. Starting with this moment right here, where you finally decide that you are worth the same love you have been giving away so freely. Pisces, I want you to sit with everything you have just heard. Not just the parts that felt comfortable. Not just the parts that confirmed what you already believed. All of it. The parts that challenged you. The parts that made your chest tighten. The parts that brought tears to your eyes because they touched something you have been protecting for far too long. This message found you because you were ready for it. And the conversation that is coming, the one that ends the uncertainty. It is not something to fear. It is something to welcome. Because on the other side of it is a freedom you have not felt in a very long time. The freedom to stop guessing. The freedom to stop pretending. The freedom to stop wondering where you stand and to finally, at long last, know. You have been so patient. So incredibly, remarkably patient. And that patience is about to be rewarded. Not with perfection. Not with a life free of challenges, but with something far more valuable. With truth. With clarity. With the deep soul-level understanding that no matter what happens next, you are going to be okay. More than okay. You are going to thrive. Because you are Pisces. And the depth of feeling that sometimes feels like a curse is actually your greatest superpower. It is what makes you wise. It is what makes you compassionate. It is what makes you the kind of person that others turn to when they need someone who truly understands. And now it is time to turn that depth inward. It is time to truly understand yourself. Your worth. Your power. Your incredible untapped potential. The next chapter of your life is going to be unlike anything you have experienced before. It is going to be marked by honesty, by alignment, by relationships that meet you where you are instead of asking you to be where they need you to be. And it begins the moment you decide that you are done living in uncertainty. That moment is now. The energy is already shifting. You can feel it, can you not? That subtle but unmistakable sense that something is different. Trust that feeling. It is real, and it is leading you exactly where you need to go. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.